All right, boys. Whoa, 100 viewers right at the start. Woo!
Woo!
100 viewers.
Off the rip. All right. So, what's up? Welcome. This is the return of the Bare Bones podcast, or lack thereof, whatever is a podcast nowadays. But here we are. It's not a DMC A strike because I made this song. So, no, I will not be dropping my SoundCloud. Chill. But I can play this music as long as I want because it doesn't matter. All right. So first things first, we're going to talk about what we're going to go into. Rosters. Probable leaks. Boss has some shit he wants to talk about. We've got Kenshin, our analyst here. We've got Deer, who's good at making documents and is also an analyst here. We've got me, who pretends to be an analyst here. And Surge for memes. All right. So... let's get into it. Does anybody have anything they want to start off with? Or do you want me to just go into the questions I had for you guys specifically before we start stuff?
I mean, if you got questions ready, then let's go.
Whoa, boss. Lower the mic, bro. Jesus.
Oh,
all right.
My fault.
All right. So, thank you for the follow, by the way, Captain Jack. So, to start, something just got posted, which I think Wolf confirmed Ignar to EG, right? Or was that old?
Yeah, correct. I mean, Blue reported it yesterday, but...
Yeah, Blue reported it yesterday as well. So, Ignar to EG was one of those things where... And Spring Leaks, that fucking poser posted this, where he was like, EG and TSM are fighting over a bunch of players. And they are. We've had Impact and Licorice both rumored to EG. In addition to Ignar rumor there as well, plus like Diamond, Crown Shot, Nemesis, all the other stuff we had. And the big thing about EG and TSM fighting over players is, as we know, and as I was mistakenly led not to believe, TSM does in fact have money, and they don't have burned bridges with EU players. I apologize. And EG has a fucking bag somehow out of nowhere. Like, they can pay Jacob Wolf to do their show and still have money to buy players, even though I think their president, Nicole, I forgot her last name, but you know,
LaPointe Jameson.
I don't want to butcher that. She made a meme about people playing like millions of dollars for players, so maybe they played it smart and got like good players for a budget, which, I mean, getting Peter Dunn is enough, I think, to have someone want to come in and actually just participate in being in that. So if I'm an outside player looking in and I see EG and they pick up Peter Dunn and Nemesis Crown Shot is true, I'm going to that team.
I can say a bit about EG.
Go for it.
Okay, so for EG, first off, financially, they're just absolutely chilling. Their parent company, Peak 6 Investments, made a ton of money during COVID. So they've been big balling the entire off season. They've been looking for a big mid the entire off season. And right now, their biggest target is Nemesis. Nemesis is not confirmed to EG. However, Fnatic has pretty much made it so that Nemesis can join whatever team he wants with his buyout. Nemesis's options in NA are not that great. In my opinion, EG is his best option. We're looking at like Dignitas, GGS, FlyQuest is like the other teams with mid openings. So EG is looking like his best option.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nemesis Crown Shot stuff, yes, they did want to join a team together. However, that was they could not find a team that could actually make that happen, despite EG being the rumor for that team for that to happen. Right. That was actually never the case. Crown Shot is a little bit interesting. We'll talk about the whole EU ADC things later. However, I currently have Lost going to EG as their AD carry, and he will be joining. I have Impact, Svenskeren, Nemesis, Lost, and Ignar. However, Impact, Nemesis, and Lost are not currently finalized, so we'll probably be hearing more later.
All right. Dear Surge, Kenshin, you guys have anything to say about that?
That's like a lit fucking roster for like EG just putting something quickly together. Especially like earlier in the year, like the big rumors were them bringing in, what was it, like Raze and Isles. And then switching that to like Lost and Ignar feels like a huge upgrade. especially since you can bring both of them and stick them in academy, and you technically have like depth now at both those positions. If that's still like a rumor of them coming to NA. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Nemesis. Even before he was struggling, I never thought he was like a great mid laner. Feel like he was like adequate, but I guess in NA he'd be considered like really good. But yeah, overall as a team, they should be like a playoff contender. With that supposed or projected roster.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
quickly,
mean-
can I add Apple in here? Is that cool? Or should
Yeah, Apple asked if
My
he
bad.
could
I was
join the
I
call.
muted to sneeze and
Okay.
I forgot to unmute.
Hey,
There,
Apple,
we
what's
got
up?
Apple in here?
Hello.
Is that the Twitch Apple?
Yeah.
Twitch Apple.
I'm Apple at
Fine.
1 now, but yes, former Twitch Apple.
So, to continue, let's talk about EG. I think Nemesis, I mean, the whole roster is definitely an upgrade to what they had last year, like, without a doubt. Nemesis is, like, depending on the meta, he can pop off and he can be really good, especially if, like, he gets decent amount of jungle attention, which, to be fair, he didn't have in Fnatic last year. Like, before, in the year before, he got a lot more jungle attention than last year. And when the meta fits his style, like for example, I mean it's kind of a wanky pick, but if he like gets his Veigar or like any like secondary carry mid lane, he can be really good. And he's like okay on Syndra Ori, he's like okay on Lucian. He's not like super good anymore. Well, he had like a small span of like last year right before Worlds where he looked really good, but he definitely didn't hold that form. So he's kind of a wild card, but he's definitely not like a Jizuka. Like Jizuka, he's like a worse version of Nemesis to me because he's like as wanky champion pool, but just worse overall. So in the mid lane, it's definitely an upgrade, and I think in every other role besides maybe ADC, it's an upgrade too. I'm not too sold on Lost. I think he's talented, like he got what it takes to be good in NA, but he's not gonna come in and be like tactical or I actually forgot the other ADC's name. But yeah, he's not that hyper
Johnson?
rookie coming in. Yeah, Johnson. He's not
Johnson.
gonna come in and just smack people's ass like the other two did. So
I
I'd
think
say
he will.
I think he's really good. Like he can perform really well, but I don't think he's that insane level rookie like those two. But I think he's really good, and he'd probably perform really well. I think he needs a bit more time to like. He's just like FBI to me. Like FBI in his first year, he had like times where he looked really good and like his laning was really solid, but he just didn't have the experience to like really pull it off. Just like, I mean, compare him this year to last year, right? Like it's just a huge difference. So Lost, definitely good, can be great, but he will take time. I think in spring, AGs lock in like a solid fourth, maybe fifth. Maybe they upset and make like third, but I think it really comes down to how they come in summer split and maybe make worlds even.
Yeah, the lost thing I think is very similar to the tactical situation. Funny enough, both would be coming from TSM Academy. They both like you said, super talented. But I think they both need nurturing, and we saw technical got that with Corey JJ. And with the projected roster, Lost would be getting that in Ignar. So I think he could be ahead of schedule. I don't think he needs the development if Ignar can play that almost like that veteran in his ear telling him pretty much what to do until he gets like the confidence around him, which we saw tactical over the length of the season. How you saw him start like flashing in and try to 1v5, and he had that sort of confidence. But early on, we saw Corey JJ pretty much dominating the lane and having the tempo for their bot lane. I think the same thing for Lost could be there, where we see him kind of nervous or passive, like super on in the season. And as even the season goes on, especially with the new season going to be the whole year now, that maybe on like the second half of on the other side of the MSI break, that we see him actually pop off in that roster if it ends up being true.
Like, my biggest fear for Lost is honestly also because he plays with Igno. Like, J is like a laning support. You know, he's
Mhm.
like, he has good roam timings and everything, but he's pretty standard when it comes to like roaming and stuff like that. But what
Mhm.
makes J really great is just his prowess in the lane. Like, this man will just put so much pressure down on you, even if he's like a weak side bot lane, he's just so good at laning that he will put immense pressure into the lane. While Inger is just, I mean, he's also like decent and good in the lane. Like, he can definitely get the solo kills with Igna, but he's in lane. I feel like sometimes he's more of a like hilly player where he just like goes in 50-50 trades and looks if it works. But what makes Igna really great is like his roaming, like his when he's on champs like Rakan, Thresh, or Blitzcrank, and he just roams across the map and makes plays. And I fear, like, my fear for Lost is that he would just like, while tactical developed into like really good ADC, like overall, like, I fear that Igna could just make Lost into like a weak side ADC that like tries to farm and stay alive while he puts down his roams because he's the strong voice in the lane and he can't force his preferred playstyle into the team.
So,
So
a couple things I wanted to
Yeah.
bring up during that was, and Danny put it in chat, where the whole expectation of there being one big split next season rather than there being the two splits. So the whole development per split thing might be ixnayed. So if one of the things I want to talk about, especially when it comes to development of players, because I noticed with the scouting grounds draft thing, well, it's a step in the right direction. It 100% is. The fact that I'm gonna say 70 to 80% of those players are going to be removed from their exclusivity. It's already happening, right? If
And
Double If stays
sorry,
on
not
TSM,
to cut you off,
good.
but like adding on to that, it's not even that. It's like literally like these teams have already reached agreements. These players have already reached agreements with teams before the draft has even happened. So selecting them is just actually useless.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, Tony Top was the first pick. He was the number one pick for Immortals, and they said, don't care, get rid of him. Like that's not. They went from doing something that's healthy, but I think they're more doing it to promote,
Save
like,
face.
yeah, like, hey, we're in A, we care about development, and then they go and say you can drop the exclusivity. You have no requirement to keep that player. Like, not saying you need, like, you're being forced to keep the player, but like, who's fucking Immortals Academy Top gonna be? And are they better than Tony Top? I doubt it. Why not just keep him and let him be your Academy Top? Same thing with
Immortals
TSM.
LCS top gonna be?
If Double If doesn't if Double If does in fact stay, and Lost doesn't go to EG or 100T or any other stuff or any other rosters he's rumored to, which are those two, by the way, and he stays, then where the hell is Shorty gonna go? He's just gonna go to another academy team? Like, the way they did it was such a fucking like save face kind of thing, and it's so obvious that they just don't care about NA or development. I don't know I forgot the name of the commissioner, but he also looked deadpan for every move he announced as well. Like, I don't even think he even wanted to be there. I don't think anyone wanted to be there, you know?
Yeah, so I'm a part of a Discord that actually has someone who works in the esports side of at Riot, and he says, yes, the criticism is like warranted, but it's getting to the point where they're pushing that amateur league so much that eventually it'll like fix itself. And if what he was telling me is true, it might get to the point where that amateur league actually has ties to the draft. Almost like in modern sports, like you draft a player and he'll go in like the G League for NBA, or in NFL he'll go to like your practice squad and stuff like that if he doesn't make the active roster or just get released altogether. I think if LCS did something like that, if you drafted a player and he goes straight into not even an academy, if he goes into like your amateur team or something like that, or an affiliation into one of your amateur teams, if that's how the amateur league's gonna actually be run, I wouldn't even mind something like that, where instead of just like drafting someone like Boss said, where he's already signed with another team, where the draft's actually pointless. But if you actually put contingency behind the draft, we'd see more teams sell their picks. I think we saw one. I think GGS sold one or 100 Thieves. I think they swapped picks, something like that. Which if those players are being dropped from exclusivity anyways, like that trade, it's actually just a meme in itself. But if you actually attach that to the amateur league or even the academy, and you are forced to actually put them into your thing, you could even expand the draft to like 2 rounds now, right? Have teams draft pretty much future amateur teams just through that. And then like have them bounce back through your affiliate amateur team and academy team. And they actually build NA talent like that instead of just having this showcase that doesn't even need to be showcased because they've already signed contracts or have already found reasons to make more money as streaming than be stuck in academy for the next 6 years of their lives.
I mean, the problem with NA as a whole is just in NA you need to have that kind of stuff. You need to have like a really well built system that leads people up from like high diamond master tier into the like higher ranks and LCS or pro play kind of caliber players, because in EU West, like I don't really necessarily want to shame NA, but I coach NA teams. I have coached NA teams. I know that even like diamond players NA, they have like no clue how the game works, and like even above that you just see like, I mean, Tyler one made challenger just saying like on jungle, so it's like people go into the pro scene, like if these fresh players, they go into the pro scene and they have no clue how the game works. Actually, they are like decent mechanically, they are like, they have okay solo queue instincts, but their brain is like completely turned off. They have no clue how the game works in a competitive area. They have no clue how to like develop their own skills further than like the challenger point, like the challenger solo queue point. Like I think if they like have like, if they like can collect more experience in these like minor leagues, that maybe like forms that whole stuff
Ooh,
that
hold on.
like UW
Yeah, the
players.
Fion tweet.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but apparently Fion just leaked that Wolf has a TSM bomb in 45 minutes. So
Oh.
before that stuff happens, we can talk about how shit NA is until we're blue in the face, which we will do after this. But I know the reason why you people are here. I know the entire reason why you follow me on Twitter and why you even bothered to come to this stream. You want the rumors, you want the leaks, and we're gonna give them to you. So I've set up every single team in a way where we're gonna go down the list for every single team, and we're going to say what we think the rosters are, what we speculate the rosters to be, and the stuff that we do know outside, okay? So I want to start, we already mentioned EG, right? We said if it's not Huni top, it's probably Impact. I've heard, who do we have for the jungle again?
On EG.
Svenskeren.
EG?
I'm sorry, yeah, Svenskeren.
Svenskeren.
My bad. I hadn't heard anything about Svenskeren so long that I forgot that he was on EG for a minute. So it's probably something like Impact or Licorice top. Same thing, fighting with TSM for the top laner, I guess. And then Svenskeren for jungle. I heard their mid can be anyone from Jizuke Stays, which I'm pretty sure he's not now, to Nemesis, to Damonte out of nowhere. I also heard PoE was in the running for a while. And I think... I don't know
I
if
heard Niski as well.
Yeah, Niski as
for
well.
a few
I
moments
think
there.
Loco Doco confirmed that PoE was in talks with both TSM and EG, which was confirming reports we had earlier. So the whole EG and TSM fighting for players thing was big. And then their ADC, we've heard Huni roll swapped, we've heard Crown Shot, Johnson lost. Their support
Diamond.
could be
Yes.
their support could be Diamonds. No one knows who the fucking support is. It could be anybody at this point. Oh, wait, it's Ignar.
But
Never mind.
Well, Ignore is confirmed as well.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing that I will say is that Crown Shot to EG is completely shut down. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And see,
he might
and
not
when-
even have a team next year.
Winter.
And
If that's my
he will have a
boy,
team, but it's,
if that's my boy Nick in chat,
that'd be
he's also
Winter.
calling it the meme, the Huni roll
That's
swap
what
themes that come up every year. This felt like the year it could have actually happened, but it was just one of those things where people always say it, so I don't think it was gonna happen.
I think this was
Moving
the
on.
hottest year, though. I think if this was the hottest year that it actually was gonna work out, right? If EG
Yeah.
couldn't get their hands on like a EU mid or AD carry or even find one in academy. That apparently he was like, well, he's willing every year, but this was probably the year that it had more traction than any other year.
Yeah.
I would
Um,
say that purely based off of the other top laners on the market being native.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, because no one would actually need his services, and he would have been stuck
Bro.
in academy again.
Why of all people did Vagar V2 tag me in a tweet about veteran saying some shit about Reckless going to G2?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, 'cause they-
Reckless he finished in gold too, so
Yeah.
Can
You
we
mean
say-
or are you saying that I could take Reckless in lane?
G2.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You're saying I could take Reckless in lane. Is that what we're saying?
Of course.
Okay, easy
Yeah, it's
peasy.
not like he decayed. I mean,
Can
I don't
we,
know how
like,
he
Always
decayed
a
gold too.
support
But...
difference.
Can we like take a second to talk? Like Crowny might not have a team next year.
It's super. Okay.
Here,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
you want me to
crazy.
speak about this?
Yes, this is
Yeah, I know
Boss's
the
thing because I have nothing for LEC right now.
All right. So LEC, the big thing right now, obviously, G2 AD carry. G2's number one option is Reckless. Fnatic has not reached an extension of Reckless yet. Reckless will not speak to any team before he will speak to G2 first when free agency opens at 1 a.m. CET or before PST, whenever, right? That's when he will start talking to G2. Do not expect a deal to be made in the first like 1 to 2 days, in my opinion. It could happen, but I doubt it. G2 is going to try their ass off to get Reckless. However, in my opinion, from what I know, I'm not super sold that Reckless will join G2. Reckless was fighting really hard to build a team around Selfmade. He wanted Niski, he wanted Hilly back, and all that happened. So I do believe that, and yeah, it's right there. Bloop is saying the same stuff. I do believe that Reckless will stay on Fnatic, but he is going to talk to G2 when the free agency period starts. So that opens a lot of doors for G2. G2 will then look to Upset or Crown Shot mostly. I have also heard that there is possibly a chance that they offer Karzi or offer Mad Lions a buyout for Karzi. I do not think that will happen. That is like such a low chance. Like, do not start saying G2 Karzi. However, I do also want to say that G2 will do whatever this offseason.
I mean,
I
Crown
don't-
Shot
so-
is better than Carsey, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, but
I would
Well, it
say
would make
both
a sense.
Upset and
Yeah.
Ground Shot are better.
yeah. So Crown Shot is probably the highest chance, just because it's kind of been the rumor the entire offseason. G2 Crown Shot and Mickey X was apparently really good friends with him, and they've kind of been one team up for a while. Crown Shot has wanted to play either with Mickey or with Nemesis. And as for Upset, it looks like he will return to Schalke. If he does not, and if Upset does go to G2 and then Reckless goes to Fnatic, then Crown Shot will go to NA, and he will unfortunately be on kind of like a lower tier team. Not sure exactly which, but those are the only ones with openings. Crown Shot's very open to coming to NA. He just wants to go to G2, and that's his only real spot left in EU. If Upset does go to G2, Neon will be Schalke's AD carry.
I mean,
Ooh.
I guess this is really spicy because
Oh, I'm sorry. If Reckless does go to G2, then Upset will go to Fnatic, and then Neon will be Schalke's AD carry. Crown Shot's NA.
honestly, with how Fnatic is developing, Upset might perform better in Fnatic than Reckless. I mean, I don't know like the out of game perspective because Reckless is obviously really veteran, really smart about the game, but like Fnatic is like the way they played last year. It was like they made like 1 or 2 early ganks top, put like the necessary pressure down, so Bippo was fine. I mean, when they weren't trolling, when they were actually serious, they were doing that. And then they were like shifting like a 4-man pressure way or a 5-man pressure way to bot lane to get like Reckless going. And before like minute 6-7, Reckless was kind of like chilling. Then you have like right before the Herald spawn, you have like minute 6-7, you put down pressure bot and then shift everything back to the Herald, which is usually like the preferred style with like a secondary ADC like Reckless. So Reckless as a weak side ADC, since G2 wants to play mid and top lane, would be really great for G2. But at the same time, Upset as like the primary carry focus and Upset wants to play that style would be really great for Fnatic. So if that was a thing, that could potentially be beneficial for both teams. While if G2 get upset, they might be some troubles with like coordinating the pressure around the map. And Crown Shot, I mean, he can play all styles. Like, he's not that defined yet in his career to be like Reckless or Upset that have like really defined ADC play styles. So I don't even know if G2 wanted to go for Upset, like theoretically, if they weren't getting Reckless. I think they might actually just settle for Crown Shot because he's like more fresh to the scene.
Well, I think something that a lot of people aren't mentioning are not only the level of play from people, but their personality. Because that's a giant thing with G2. You know that they like to troll. You know they like to do very unique things. You have Wonder in the top lane that doesn't always practice. You can't. I just don't see someone like Reckless wanting that environment.
True.
Like
true.
even
That's very true.
during when Caps was on Fnatic, he often had issues with the Vayne mid. He was very against it. He's like, I don't know, dude. Maybe you should just pick the safe pick in Corki. But then Brox is like, no, we can do it. We could do it. I just don't see Reckless fitting in all that much in that aspect. But
Yeah,
that is not meaning that Fnatic or G2 can't shift their mindset towards a more solid level of play.
Let's see. So, I wanted to move on from.
I have another rumor I can break.
I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna let you
go
go because I know you have something. Because I'm gonna break something that you actually told me, boss. So, it's the life related thing.
Okay.
So, I know there's a bunch of TSM fans in the chat. Boy, do you guys want to hear something interesting?
I have another TSM related thing.
Okay, so
After.
this is a rumor. This is 100% a rumor. I would say take this with a grain of salt. But it might work into some of the stuff you heard that Fion said about TSM looking for Korean support the whole time. So I've had a Korean support for TSM, or TSM importing a Korean for, I don't know, I said something about it like October 20th that they were going to get a Korean support. I still think that's the case. I think Fion's fucking baiting. He wouldn't tweet something like that. That's so obvious. Unless it was a bait. Just saying. It's to get people to tune in. And if they did go NA support in Korean top, it would be shocking, I guess. But anyways, so the rumor is, not only did TSM want life, they also inquired about getting ruler. So, in a perfect world, there was a chance, probably a small one, that it was TSM ruler and life.
And not only that, Bjergsen would be mid lane.
Yes, which let's bring that back too. That might corroborate with all the stuff we heard earlier about how TSM was going with a duo import bot lane, and even Dom said it, because that rumor came out so damn early that it probably made its rounds to everybody in the scene, and everyone was like, "That's fucking insane." It might have been true, because I don't care if Doublelift doesn't want to retire or not. If Ruler says, I want to play for TSM, you kick Doublelift to the curb.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Immediately.
So, the reason why this is...
to the curb.
Exactly. The reason why this is huge is because it implies that at some point, they were actively doing due diligence because they thought Doublelift was in fact going to retire. Which is something we already know. But I thought that was super interesting, and I wanted to make sure we shared that on stream. I'm gonna let.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. Sorry.
It's just a fun thing to know.
I'm gonna let Boss go, and then after that, we're gonna officially talk about TSM's roster.
So I think this one's pretty big. A very hot commodity this offseason has been Treats. Earlier rumors stated that he was going to join Fnatic, or he was slated to. He reached, verbal agreement is like what they said, and pretty much he would be their starting support if Hillsing left, and then rumors started being of Hillsing staying, and then he's going to join Fnatic Rising. But recently, I've actually heard that he is planning on joining SK to join as their starting support, and the only thing really stopping this deal from getting confirmed is they're trying to figure out the money side of it. Treats wants a lot of money. SK is not one of the richest orgs in LEC, so they're trying to come to an agreement. But from what I know, it looks like Treats will be the starting support for SK Gaming. which will be.
When I first heard that,
I don't think anybody has said that. So
I thought when I first heard that, when you first told me, I thought you were talking about Schalke, and I was like, oh shit, there's narrative there. Fucking BB and Treats on the same
Yeah,
team.
I was just gonna
And
say.
I realized,
thought
oh,
it
it's
was more
SK.
Schalke.
Yeah, it's SK. I totally forgot about that.
Limit is starting for Schalke, but that one's kind of
Oh.
been said before.
Hit me up. Who says case ADC if it's not Crony?
It's I think it's Jezu.
Yeah, it's gonna be Jizz.
Yeah, Jezu.
All right. So the moment I know everybody's here for the TSM roster. I know, boss, you have some stuff. I know Surge is dying to talk about TSM, because homie's a big old TSM fan.
And
And Broxah, TSM Broxah, baby. So first off, let's start with the obvious. Impact or Licorice top. That's what we've known. Powell Fox and Diamond leading Cloud9.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
So wait, so Powell Fox to
Powell Fox
was
is on
100T? Yeah.
100 Thieves.
Powell Fox to 100T was a rumor that we had for a long
This
time.
is basically confirming the perks.
Very, very
by the
well.
way, like,
Yeah, this is 100%
Yes.
confirming perks
This
probably.
is confirming perks. On
Back to the TSM stuff.
I'm
We
trying to find out where Diamond's going.
we Impact or Licorice have been rumored to top the whole time. I've actually heard that as like an emergency, like in case we can't get anybody break glass, it's Hanser. Which there's a bunch of rumors about a huge reunion for TSM coming up, or for just a team in NA. But I was assuming it was TSM because there's the rumors about X Special coming back to being a strategic coach for Bjerg. There's Hanser maybe coming back to NA, or I don't know, could be fucking Lustboy coming back to be coach or something. But so it's Impact, Licorice, Hanser as an emergency. The funny thing, and me and Bots are laughing at this, no matter what roster you ask anybody in the entire scene to give you for TSM, Spica is always mentioned every time. He's the only constant for TSM that anybody has.
Golden child.
Yeah, he's the only player that we know for sure is staying, even though there's a bunch of people in my Discord who firmly believe that fucking C9 Spica is possible.
C9 Spica, dude.
Somebody in chat, I know you're watching, post that cursed ass C9 Spica. That thing sucks.
Dude,
I hate that
the
thing.
story was literally, somebody said C9 Spica, and I was like, oh my god, that's so weird. I literally had a dream where Perks said that he wanted Spica.
Could you
And that was,
imagine,
like, a
dude?
rumor.
Perks is like,
That's
I
not
need
even
someone
a
to
thing.
play Shen to my LeBlanc every game. Easy peasy.
Holy. Imagine the
C9
trade
isn't
between
even
the
like-
two.
He needs a personal Sejuani.
Like, the thing is, even C9 would never even go for a speaker.
They could. I guess.
They
They really
could,
wanted
but
it.
Honestly, bold take. I think with Perks, I think Speak is a better jungler than Flabber.
Yeah, he is, but, you know,
okay.
The
Hold
way,
on, hold that
the
thought.
way C9 works, they wouldn't do it.
Jesus Christ. All right.
So
We're-
if we're,
we're
if
not
moving
we're,
talking
on.
if
about
we're
that,
on
though. We need
if we're
rumors,
still
we need
going over
rumors.
the
We need
people
rumors, we need
returning
rumors.
to TSM, do
Yeah.
we think, because we've heard Mithy could be coming back to NA to coach, could he come back to TSM instead of C9?
No, it would be C9.
It would. Yeah. I haven't heard
Sven
anything about him.
and
Jason.
Perks. Yeah, Sven and Perks.
Although, would that be no? The reunion is probably Mithy coming back to C9 to coach Sven. That's probably the rumor.
And
Like Sven,
Perks.
Perks, and Mithy
And
on the same
Perks.
team technically
Yeah,
again.
and Perks, yeah.
That sounds like a big reunion in NA to me. Anyways, going to
So-
mid for TSM, who we know.
One thing actually I want to say about TSM,
Yes.
I heard this very recently. It's a complete shot in the dark. It's very, very low chance, but I actually have heard some stuff about TSM someday.
What?
As a
No.
possibility.
No. Nuh-uh. Mm-mm.
I don't know
Don't.
what the fuck that implies. But
Don't do that. Don't say that. Don't say that out loud.
No, funny enough, I've heard. I think it's more fan hopefuls, but I've heard
Yeah.
people talking
The
about it.
only
Since
people
his
I've heard
green
say
card
it.
is around.
Yeah.
Because his green card is right around the corner. And 100 Thieves, if they're looking to pay money to bring in other players, that someday could be on his way out to kind of get their
The-
money back for
the
them
absolute
spending it.
only way. And this is the most
FBI and
impossible
Closer
fucking
did
thing.
cost a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, FBI included. Yeah.
I think it would be impossible. The only thing I think TSM could get out of Sunday, or if they were to get Sunday, was if Fion isn't baiting and it's a Korean top and they hit a home run. Sunday's a home run, and I don't know who they would get as a domestic support. Maybe Isles. 'Cause we kept hearing Isles for TSM. Academy.
Isles is looking at for C9 Academy.
C9 Academy.
That's not what
Diamond.
I've heard.
That's
I've heard.
weird. I don't know.
Mm,
It's one of those things where I think at this point everyone's trying to bait around because this happens every year with TSM. something
unless you
about them
actually-
will get leaked out, and then it's get completely fucking thrown under the rug. Go ahead, Serge. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, here we're talking home. We're talking home runs, right?
No, let's Serge talk. He hasn't talked to any at all.
Okay, yeah.
It's just that it doesn't even make sense, and like what everyone's been hearing with the roster
Yeah.
someday, unless he's actually getting his green card like for next split,
Yeah.
like he's not going to be like an import anymore. It's just I don't know why they would do that.
Why would
Well,
100T
yeah,
let
yeah.
him go
Like
either?
last year, probably.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
100
don't see
thieves.
it happen.
Do we have
I
to
mean,
be real?
100T does have an influx of top lane talent.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say, boss? You big home run.
So, I mean, we did hear a rumor earlier today about Nuggery joining a team that starts with the letter T.
No.
No.
I mean,
No, it was
I mean,
not. It was
no.
not
No.
about
No.
a team with the letter T. It was with the T, which is for a player, which links up with exactly what we've been told in the past.
If someone actually came up to me in
Actually,
DMs
I'll
and
just
was
say,
like,
yeah,
It's
it's
with
FTX.
T.
Yeah.
It's with it's FPX. It's
FPX, yeah.
TN. Yeah. That I think that's the first time it's been like a public.
I think it's for something
release,
official. We
but
talked about it a while ago, but yeah.
We've talked about it a
There
while,
was-
but FPX has contacted Nuguri for
Top lane.
2021 split.
Yeah, but it's not happening, is it?
Interesting.
No
That
way
would be
it's happening.
spicy.
Nah, dude. Demon Gaming is not gonna split up. I doubt it.
I have no idea. I don't have anything about those regions.
Well, I know.
Let's talk about another down one top laner, Flame.
Yeah, he's been linked to NA
Is that
for
a
a bit
bait?
too.
Or maybe he comes back
that's
to
a
TL.
reunion.
It comes back to like coach, maybe.
Is Flame done with his military obligations?
I think so.
Yeah, he's ready to play. Yeah. Yeah. So Travis has Jose Data going to FlyQuest. I can't see him start. Like someone just
Hold on,
posted in the
hold on.
chat.
We're getting we're getting
can't see
super
that.
sidetracked, by the way.
I don't have a FlyQuest jungler.
Hold on.
So,
We're getting super
yeah.
sidetracked because we need to finish the rumors for the rosters, I think. Because
Well, I think we've gone over most of them. Like,
Well, we know-
there's the top lane rumors coming out the wazoo. There's support rumors coming out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Double lift could be, I guess, lost if he wasn't going to EG. We could see TSM run like a 6-man roster, and if double lift does not look good in the first half,
no.
we could see.
No.
I think it would be logical to keep him on your
Yeah,
roster.
I think double F 100% starts. 100%.
No, I mean, like, you running sticks. No, funny enough, I enjoyed when he was on the team the first time. Over the last couple of years, with the way his attitude's even worsened than it used to be. It used to be flame, and he actually had gameplay to back it up. But as it's downtrending, I think keeping Lost on TSM in Academy, and then if DL doesn't pan out in like the first half of the split, you throw in Lost as your starter for the rest of the year, and then you just call it the end of the era. For double lift and TSM, and you push Lost until he either succeeds or busts. And then he can move straight into coaching or streaming under the TSM brand. Right? And he's dating Lena. So like he's got so many options on TSM. Like him starting on the TSM roster, I don't see a bad thing. And then for him it's a win-win, right? Because he could be pushed to coaching with his friend Bjerg. He can push to being streamer. He can literally do anything under the TSM banner that him starting is not like doomed for TSM. Plus, if they're bringing in a Korean bot laner, and even if he gets pushed out of the roster, he'll be there as like a coach. Like there's like a lot of pros of having double lift on your roster, even if he doesn't end up playing the whole year.
So, is anyone looking at the chat of Travis's predictions?
Yeah,
I've
I'm
been
seeing
going
them.
through. A
He
lot
said
of stuff has
fly
changed.
Fly licorice.
A Blaze Olive for
Fox,
for
and
GG is
Diamond.
actually something we had early too, that he was
Yep.
gonna start. Deodo for
100 Thieves is
FlyQuest?
also-
Yeah,
you see
that one's
yeah,
that fly
Licorice and
roster
Pal-
is
You see the
crazy.
3 buyout right there? Licorice, Palafox, and Diamond. Maybe that's how they pay for perks.
Oh,
I mean, it does kind of make sense. I mean, they do need a lot of money to pay
100
perks.
Dude, 100 Thieves literally just bought 4 GGS players according to Travis.
Well, something to note is Travis isn't completely 100% confirmation. He's made it very clear that these are final predictions.
He's been good
Travis
this
is
year,
capable
though.
of being
Yeah,
wrong.
he's been really
It
good.
does
Yeah.
not mean it's 100%.
He's been much better than in the past. That's
Looking
for sure.
at what he's saying, I agree with Dig Honser, and I have Frog. I actually agree with his roster for Dignitas, but I have Johnson not sneaky.
Travis off a perk.
Poor John.
That's
I
so
wonder what he has
to
for
the chat.
TSM. I bet for TSM he has Impact, Speaka, Power of Evil.
He actually has Hooney in the
Double
top
A.
lane for TSM.
Yes,
Shut up.
What?
What?
TSM.
Shut
He
up.
has Hooney in the top lane.
What
for
the
TSM.
fuck?
What?
No,
doesn't.
no, he doesn't.
I
He
don't
ended
completely
Sword Art.
agree
I
with
thought,
that.
wait, I thought you heard that Sword Art isn't coming to TSM.
Me? I didn't hear that.
You didn't hear that?
No, I heard Sword Art was just another Korean in the pile of Koreans they might import.
Isn't he Taiwan?
Huh?
Isn't he Taiwanese?
I have no idea. I don't know the guy.
And
Yeah,
now
he
he has
is.
Turtle going to
I don't know,
CLG.
he's from
Oh,
Suning.
no.
How would they even like import someone from Asian countries right now?
Hold on. So, okay. So not only hold on, Sword Art would make everything about my prediction wrong because he's not a Korean.
Yeah, 'cause he's not even Korean either. Yeah.
Are you the one that
He plays
What?
the
TCS.
Korean market? Like, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
were
where
in the
that came
Korean
from.
market the whole time, and then fucking Hooney. Hooney's a
don't
resident
know.
now, right?
There's no
Yeah,
way.
Hooney's a
I mean-
resident, but I don't know.
Hey,
TSM
Hooni's
was
Korean.
it-
Maybe he plays support for them.
That's a meme.
Yeah, maybe the road
Shut
sucks. But then
the
again,
fuck up.
I don't know.
Yo, that doesn't
Maybe
work
Travis
out
is
at all.
off of his
Can we get
medication.
some F's in the chat for Hooney top to TSM?
What
Oh,
the
I'm telling you,
fuck?
every single year,
Reggie was going big about, dude.
Okay.
What?
Hooney needs to
They
become an
signed Hooney.
agent. This man is insane.
Bjergsen makes the roster stuff, right?
No, he's a coach.
For the most
Yeah,
part,
but
I think
yeah,
he's gonna
I
stay
think
definitely
alive.
Juan
has a
said
big
Bjergsen
staying.
and Lena were,
Yeah,
like, the ones
he'll have a
doing
say.
mostly.
So
Holy shit.
Bjergsen will not take Hooney. Because Bjergsen knows that if Doublelift is in his team, you can't have Hooney in your team. Because that's like, that doesn't work.
It's grief.
Both want attention to your lane. And Hooney not having attention on his lane is... let's not talk about that.
This is
It just
not.
doesn't work.
What a
this doesn't
fucking
even, like-
weird like. Hold
Why?
on.
Travis
Yeah.
doesn't know shit about TSM.
Why is
100%
Niles
though.
Golden Guardians
he's
top
just starting
boss in the
games.
academy.
Yeah, and his predictions
I
too.
heard Niles for top lane for GG.
Okay.
For Adams.
Main
Hooney
roster.
came out of
Anything to
fucking nowhere on this rumor
Yeah.
scene. No one ever. We all said from the beginning, no one has heard anything about Hooney going anywhere, so we assumed he was staying on EG. So that's usually what
the
that
Well, I
Korean
mean,
top laner,
that
man.
kind of
It's
that kind of
Hooney
fits
and
up with
Biofrost.
TSM. That kind of fits up with TSM always being quiet, like complete silence. around it.
Imagine getting rid of
Dude,
Broken Blade, who can't play weak side, for Hooney, who can't play weak side.
Well, the thing is that this is obviously something that has occurred in the past day or so, because even Travis didn't have Hooney going to TSM in his last update video. Nothing
This
is
is-
100%.
This
a
is
lot.
TSM buying out Hooney, by the way.
Yeah, this is TSM
yeah.
paying,
Paying
I see a lot.
$2.3 million for this kid.
I mean,
but Impact is
I mean-
way too expensive for them. So
What
they're gonna
would
pay
happen
out
to-
Hooney instead.
Yeah, but he has in his projections though, he has them losing out on Impact and Licorice.
Yeah, both.
Honestly, that does somewhat make sense because FlyQuest, I heard that they're blowing up, but they do have money. That's something that we have said since the beginning. I don't quite understand that. Maybe
No, they don't
No,
have money.
they lost money because
They-
of their
yeah,
NBA.
they don't
team.
have the
NBA
money.
team, they don't have money. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no way they let
Same
POE
way with
walk.
GGS.
Yeah.
Golden Guardians. I mean, they do have the Golden State Warriors, but
No, the Warriors lost a lot of money actually,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
luxury
yeah.
tag.
how
I would
big
s-
could
but
TSM like fuck up to get this situation?
Oh my
Personally.
god. Fucking. What the fuck?
Hey, at least it's not as bad as his predictions has Jizuki still on a starting roster.
Yeah, it's just like that's in the meantime. Like that's 100% just because
Yeah.
Nemesis hasn't started yet.
Yeah. Well, he's got. I'm assuming green is he thinks are his confirmed choices, or like what's the difference
Probably.
between his
I
color?
assume.
Well, 'cause
Yellow-
if he
yellow,
has
yeah.
that,
Yellow might mean, like, I don't know.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
and
green for TSM.
I mean, Hooney is a resident. His contract for Dig wasn't guaranteed. It's not the buyout still. That's just fucking
I mean,
weird.
okay, TSM Sword Art is probably better than TSM Life, right? Would we agree that? Or what
No.
do you guys think?
no, I think Life's
No.
better.
You guys have
So I
Life?
think Life was super disrespected in the LCK. I think he was really good. I think he was very hit or miss, but I think he was a little less hit or miss
Continue to
than
hear
Sword Art
yeah,
was.
fucking
he
Lost
just said.
deal
Hold on. He just said
through.
there was a deal for Lost and Hooney, and he continues to hear that it fell through. TSM were actually trying to get Hooney
What
I
for
don't know.
Academy, right?
for Academy.
That would be
Something I've
good, yeah.
noticed is Travis does not have Nemesis coming to NA whatsoever.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Nemesis hasn't decided his team.
Bro,
That's the thing.
I'd take fucking Dokla over Hooney, to be honest.
Yeah, I
That's
know
what
that.
I'm
Those
saying,
were the
like, not
memes.
even a joke. Like, just take the big dope.
Jesus Christ. All right,
The big
so
joke.
I just realized we have 15 minutes until or whatever the fucking stupid noise you're gonna hear a million times is. So this is the section where we take Boss, because Boss has shit from every region, and we just let him go nuts with whatever he says. Because last year he got Xerxes to OG, right? Amongst some other things I don't remember, but Xerxes was the big one. So Boss, what do you got? What do you have? Go.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I don't even know. Where do we start? Honestly,
Let's start in NA. Let's start in NA if you have any more.
What do we want to know? You guys quiz me.
Oh, whatever.
I just think you
TSM
should run down the
support,
most.
I have life for TSM support. Sword
Just
Art
run down the
is
list.
pretty
Like go from the top to the bottom. Like run
Okay,
down
you want me
every
to
roster.
say every single roster.
Just
that I
say
can?
every roster. Fuck it.
Okay. TSM, I have Licorice, Spica, PoE, Doublelift, and Life. TL, I have Alfari, Santorin, Jensen, Tactical Core, JJ. FlyQuest, I'm very unsure here. I think they're still trying to figure out jungle, mid, and support. I have Solo top, and I have Wild Turtle 80 carry. And then jungle, I've heard Inori, and I've also heard possibly Xmithy, but there's a big chance that Xmithy goes teamless. I'm not sure who Travis has, but I'm kind of curious. I have no clue about
For
FlyQuest jungler.
what team?
For FlyQuest?
FlyQuest, they have
Jose
Liquist,
Data.
Jose
Licorice,
he has. Yeah,
Jose,
I heard about Jose had visa issues, and I heard that those got resolved. Originally, he was set to be TL Academy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did join FlyQuest main roster if he got a main roster thing. That's just like Isles. I will say I have TSMA Isles. I know that what's it called? Travis has seen on A Isles. I saw him on TSM Academy. So for FlyQuest mid lane, I think they go triple or golden glue, but still really no clue. I mean, it could be Nemesis as well. 80 Wild Turtle and support. I think this is a possible Biofrost location. It's also a possible Diamond location. Just really not sure yet. Dig, I have Hanser, Dardoch, Froggen, Johnson, and Afromoo. Feel really good about this. There's a lot of rumors about Johnson leaving. However, I have heard that he's kind of in contract prison and Sneaky wants way too much. Golden Guardians, I believe they'll have contracts to jungle and DeMonte mid with Chime support. And Fate God, I have as their interim top laner, but I'm not too sure on that one. 80 carry, also just really not sure. NA is really weird just because a lot of things haven't really happened yet. So there's a lot of holes. At least, yeah, like every roster, but we'll get into that later. And then Chime support, I'm not sure if I said that. 100 Thieves, this one's really interesting. So the big rumor is someday closer Palafox FBI Huhi, but I'm not sure if that's correct. I think it's possible that Palafox and Diamond both go to this team. And I also think that it's possible that they get another resident mid laner outside of Palafox. I think DeMonte is possible. I think that Golden Glue is possible for this team. Not entirely sure. I would be surprised if it was DeMonte and Huhi, because that'd be for
GG?
Golden Guardians. This is
No,
for
for
100
100
Thieves.
Thieves.
Or 100
Oh,
Thieves.
we all just hear fucking Golden Glue to Dig?
I did not, unless that was like a
My
Jacob
bad.
thing that I missed.
Just continue. I didn't mean to.
Sorry, I said Frog into Dig. CLG, I have Finn, Baroxa, Pobelter, and Smoothie. They're 80 carry. I don't really know. EG, I have Impact as Venskaren, Nemesis, Lost, and Ignar. So that earlier. C9 is the roster of Fudge, Blabber, Perks, Sven, Vulcan. And IMT is kind of interesting. I think Xerxes will start for them. It could be Cabochard, top lane. Also Insanity, mid lane, I believe. And then I think their bot lane will be Raze and Destiny. As for the LEC, I mean, I'll just post a screenshot because it's like I'll
It's a
post
lot.
one screenshot. It's just like this one. Like
See,
I just think
this
it's
is
fine.
why I said let me use the spreadsheet that we made because it helps because we get sidetracked and we lose names because there's so many names to keep track of.
Yeah. Link me a spreadsheet and I can make a beauty.
Hey, let me open that up for
I just-
chat to see.
Okay.
So, discussing with G2, we have Wonder, Yankos, Caps, Crown Shot, and Mickey X. So, I want to talk about all the yellow moves real quick.
Yes.
The ones that you're talking about. So, Crown Shot. This is actually something I heard early, very, very early. So, when it comes to G2 and the whole perks leaving situation, the way they were looking at it was G2 themselves were mainly talking to Upset, but the players, I heard, actually wanted Crown Shot. Like the players themselves were like, no, they're not saying we don't want to have Upset, but they were saying like, if they were asking the players, like Carlos was asking the players, they were talking about go getting Crown Shot. That's completely rumors and hearsay. I don't know if that's 100% true or not. I heard it forever ago. Those type of things die quickly. Reckless on Fnatic. I have a friend who does scouting for I think it's ERL teams. And his name's Kratz. So Kratz, if you're listening, how you doing, buddy? He's a huge Fnatic fan. Like dude's got a Reckless tattoo. I'm not even kidding. And
Nice.
we were talking about it, and I had to tell him something I had heard, which was Reckless testing free agency. Not that he wants to leave, but to gauge his offer, or to gauge his what he's worth, which is a common practice for most people. Reckless is the type of player. He's a franchise player. He's the type of guy who has an agent. The agent's going to say, "Hey, you have an opportunity here to make more money than you were making last year, and you
By
have
just
all the
fielding
leverage
offers."
because Fnatic can't afford to lose you, really, right? So why not just go, hey, I'm gonna go talk to, I don't know, fucking Vitality. I'm not saying that actually happened. And they said they can give me 1.5 mil a year. And Fnatic's like, all right, we'll give you 1.6 then. So now he made more money. Fnatic is happy. Reckless is happy. It's just due diligence. I highly don't expect Reckless to leave Fnatic at all. There was actually a tweet Jacob Wolf put, I think it was Wolf or Fion, where one of them was like, when Fnatic fans see their new roster, and it was like the Smokey from Friday, like disappointed meme. I think it's because aside from Niski, I think Fnatic stays exactly the fucking same, which would be disappointing for some Fnatic fans, I think.
If I was Fnatic though and I lost Reckless, I think I'm okay. With the type of AD carries that are actually still on the market,
Yeah,
I wouldn't even be mad with Upset or Crown Shot.
there are a
Like,
lot
if
of good available
like
LEC
if they had to
ADCs.
go, yeah, if those guys are still in the market and like Reckless leaves, like, and you're replacing them with them, I'm happy as a Fnatic fan.
Yeah.
If you replace them with like a EU Masters AD carry, like, then I start crying. But right now, like, if you're having those two and you're like, man, I have to pick out of a bag, I think I'm okay with all three of them. Like, you can make a case for having one of those guys on your roster actually makes your roster still competable.
Right. And then Mad, between Wooloo, Bloop, and Wolf, they basically picked over Mad's roster and already
Yeah,
confirmed
like
it without saying
World
they confirmed
still.
it. Yeah.
I was still at World.
I've got nothing about Misfits except I heard the Vethio stuff a little bit early, but I have no way to confirm
Mateo?
that stuff.
You mean
Yeah,
Mateo?
sorry. Whatever. Whatever, dude.
He's good.
I know he's
trust
good.
me, if you guys are Misfits, if any Misfits fans, Mateo is bomb. Watching him in EU Masters the last couple of splits, man, the kid's gonna be good.
Schalke. I'm sorry. Yeah, Schalke. So
BB.
the Broken Blade stuff is big, as
Yeah,
reported
well, it's
by
on, yeah.
as reported by Wooloo. First of all, let me put that out there. I had him leaving. I had Broken Blade going to like GG or something.
I agree
Early.
with him.
I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. My cat is screaming like a bitch in the background. He just
Yeah,
meows
yeah.
at the door until his mom comes home. Anyways, so for Broken Blade, him going to Schalke makes sense because obviously there's the narrative that everybody knows. It's Abadage and Broken Blade being reunited because they were both on what was the name of the team? Royal Bandits or something?
Yep.
Mhm.
The TCL
Low
team?
youth, but like same thing.
Yeah. Broken Blade is good. I think he'll perform better in the LEC than he did in NA because of the style, the way
Play.
European tops play. It more fits Broken Blade's thing, because Broken Blade's thing is he can play carries on strong side, and he can play tanks on weak side, but that's it. So like all those games you saw him on like Gangplank weak side, he was just abysmal. It was horrible to watch. Gilius, God, right? Abadage is underrated,
Pretty
criminally
good.
underrated.
Yeah.
Upset, if that's true, is so fucking good, and I haven't heard anybody else for their AD except Upset. And then
It'd be Neon if it's not Upset.
Limit was the only one I heard, because I kept getting Limit or Schalke and SK confused. So I was like, I thought it was Treats. No, it's Limit. And I also think Wooloo reported on that as well, right? The Limit thing.
Yeah, Rulu was first on Limit.
Yeah. Vitality's already done all that other stuff. Let's see. So Wolf show starts in 4 minutes. So what we're gonna do to counteract, we're not trying to, talk over him or anything like that. I'm gonna say some Poggers stuff in a second. After that, we're gonna start taking calls HLL style, where we're gonna drag you guys in, and you guys are going to say whatever stuff you want to say to us. Just don't say anything stupid, obviously. Not like a stupid comment or stupid question. Just don't come in here and start like spamming the N-word or something, or saying a bunch of like stuff you probably shouldn't say. I've already spoken to a Discord. I will drag you in, Sean, if you get on the Discord. Padawan Sean is here. That's my boy. Okay, Sean just brought himself in. Cool. All right, cool. Sean's the first guest. Sure. What do you want to say, Sean?
Hello. I don't got nothing to say. What's up?
Okay, he just all right,
dragged
cool,
him in.
awesome. Thanks, Sean. Anyways, so
Want to talk about TSM Uni?
no, I don't. The stuff I'm gonna say is some interesting stuff that I heard a while ago that I'm gonna bring up now. Okay, so initial reports, and I'm talking like late October reports, and a bunch of stuff that I was saying, and I don't know if people remember these things. So the whole Korean support thing, aside from the ruler and life rumor, actually came about due to someone was telling me last year, this is from last year, that before COVID, TSM were talking to Koreans, and they offered, it was Cuz, I think. He's a Korean jungler. They offered Cuz, and he said no. And due to COVID, TSM could not import a jungler when they were trying to. They were going to bop Speaker back down to Academy and then import a jungler. Boy, am I glad COVID hit for that reason and that reason alone, because COVID sucks. I'm sorry. I won't say that out loud. Speaker's a banger. And now the reason why the support, the Korean support thing came up was because I heard rumors early on that TSM were 100% heavily valuing the support position, and in talks they had with other teams, in addition to just talking to Bjergsen, they were talking about the new meta coming up specifically in targeting high intensity, big memes, high intensity, hard engaged support players from Korea specifically. So we're not talking like, I don't really know much about like what Tucson's playstyle was, but I heard he was too passive and too much of a tank player for them.
Yeah,
and they were looking
Tucson,
at they
he's
were
a
looking at
babysitting
life,
ADC guy.
and they were looking at life and Carrier because they were hyper aggressive. They could play, they could play Rakan, Leona, Pike, all that other stuff like that can continue to just bully in lane, because they want to actually play through bot side next year. Which is weird because the meta is supposedly to shift to assassins and split pushing. So playing toward bot side is actually supposed to be a unique style for them, which is why I heard they were specifically targeting solid supports and strong side top laners. Which is why they dumped BB, I think. Which is weird. They were looking for a strong side or weak side, just a split push. BB's not very good in split push either. So, because apparently it was method to TSM's madness this whole time. And yet again, up until the last fucking moment, They are keeping everybody in the complete dark about what they're doing because my TSM source early on, I asked him straight up. I said, "What's the roster?" He said, "Wait and see." And he every time I asked him about it, he said some like super ominous generic thing. Like I would say, "Who's TSM top?" And he's like, "I don't know, but whoever they sign is gonna be pretty impactful." And I was like, "Okay, dick, like just tell me." Moving on from that to FlyQuest. So I also reported and got this correct early on that Licorice to FlyQuest was a very possible thing, which was also confirmed that they were looking at Licorice and Fly had to pull out. Because I also
it was a
heard
done deal. Yeah, it was a done deal, right? Before they had their funding pulled.
Yeah, there goes Froggen from Dig, by the way, boss. I still think it's golden glue to Dignitas. You heard it here first, by the way. So what was I saying? Didn't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, we were talking about
FlyQuest.
Licorice being going to GG.
The initial reports I heard of FlyQuest, because Apple, Big Boy Apple, actually was the first person to tell me about the NBA teams losing funding, and I had heard differently. I heard that GGS had money. I heard GGS had money and Fly both had money, and that they were blowing up the rosters to quote unquote upgrade these positions, not to sell their players. After that had come out, and after it was stated that all these players had quote unquote lost their money, lost their exclusivity, and lost their players, it became very apparent that they were going into budget mode, which all you guys know. But the way they're budgeting is super odd. So teams like EG are not paying millions of dollars for their players, but they have really solid players. It's BRTT, big memes. So I heard what Fly is doing is they're actually going to go with a academy approach somewhat, which I think is what opposite of what Travis just said. I heard they were going to get a lot of academy players, and I mentioned it as a meme like 10 days ago that Demonte to FlyQuest could happen. Anything could happen. It still could happen. I doubt it.
Peter Dunn's referencing that they're bringing in a Brazilian in.
Yeah, it's BRTT. Easy peasy. They need someone to beat they need someone to beat Double Lift.
BRTT actually would be pretty nuts.
BRTT better than Double Lift.
I love BRTT. Hey, a fan of CB LOL just because how exciting that shit is, and to watch and bet on it is so fun and such an emotional roller coaster. If he came to NA, I'm a fan already.
Yeah, that'd be great. The last thing I wanted to mention, and I wanted to openly state this, this is less about the rosters and more about something personal. As you all know, I've said this before. First off, my name is Joe. Okay, it's not Skeleton. I'm not pretending to be a skeleton online.
Hi, Joe.
I'm not going to tell you my last name or show you my face, even though I already have. I'm not going to tell you my last name and all the other stuff. I'm not going to dox myself. But I do want to openly state something that has been irking me for a while. The Malacalypse stuff. Okay? I didn't want to talk about this openly, and there's nothing really else to talk about. I showed proof on Twitter and on Discord that I was, in fact, hacked. I had over 20 passwords exposed to third-party systems. I got a notification of it 2 minutes before I get spam pinged by Surge in chat here that somebody had leaked a screenshot of a conversation I had with Mala. I did not take that screenshot. I didn't. Did I take a screenshot? Yes, but it was earlier in the conversation, which had nothing to do with that. I was screenshotting the fact that Mala was even somebody who would talk to me, because I was like fanboying at the moment because I was like, wow, someone big's talking to me. That specific screenshot was damning, and it was potentially harmful to Malacalypse's life. So, not his life, but his well-being in a sense of job security. That's what I meant to say. So openly, if he's watching, or if anybody from the Immortals organization is watching, I am truly 100% and utterly sorry for what happened. It was through no intention of mine to ever have that leaked. I spoke to the guy who posted it on Reddit. I asked him, did you dox me? How'd you get that? and he blocked me immediately upon me talking to him. So again, I say, I'm sorry. It's a super unfortunate situation, and I wish it would have never happened. I also I received bad info about what I was saying about TSM, and as a TSM fan, I'm not going to use the excuse of I was also disappointed about the stuff I heard, because somebody made that excuse for me on Reddit, and it was wrong. But I just wanted to say, once again, I apologize, Mala. I apologize, INT, and I apologize, TSM. And it's one of those things where I'm not going to say, I'll be better, I'm not going to do the same thing everybody else does. But I've taken the necessary steps to improve my complete security on all my accounts, including my Discord. In every facet, I have completely done two-factor authentication for every single account I have, because whoever this guy was also hacked my Facebook. So he knows my name, he knows my wife's name, he knows everything there is to know about my family. And it's one of those things where it is in fact scary, because I also checked, and there was a notification that my bank account was also logged into. So whoever this guy is, he got just about everything out of me. So in addition to the L I took in almost ruining a guy's career, and I hope he gets to keep his job, I also took a hard L in the fact that my information is just out there. I'm not asking for sympathy, because I think I deserve what happened to me. Moving on. So now that that's all done, let's get into the memes. Moving on to, I'm gonna check Mr. Cyclone here. I got people to drag in here. So I got Major Disrespect. I'm gonna drag him in. All right, Major. Welcome to Bare Bones.
Good to be here.
What would you like to talk about there, Chief?
Well, I'll keep my original take. The TSM Hooney thing really threw me off for a sec. But my take was that I think either C9 or TL is going to implode in tremendous fashion, and one of those teams will not make it to Worlds.
Ooh. You think, okay, so what you're saying is you think TL or C9 is just not going to make Worlds next year?
No, so I think one of those two teams, I can't tell you which one it is, just because it's too early to say, but one of these two new super teams, as we're going to call them, is going to blow up. I've got reasons behind both, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. But yeah, one of those two teams is not making Worlds, and maybe won't make top two.
Okay.
The question I have for you is it because of play? Is it because of personality, personal reasons? What do you have?
I think it's a combo of all of them. So if you look at TL, I think that they're bringing in a very resource-heavy top lane with Alfari. He is good playing strong side. And then they already have Jensen, who's a carry mid laner, and has shown in the past his supportive or more passive mid laners aren't exactly his strongest, but he can play that style. And then you still have, Core JJ and Tactical in the bot lane. Plus now you're bringing in Santorin, who's like that supportive style jungler, so he's gonna have to split time supporting 3 different lanes. I just think that you've put too many good things on one team, and it's gonna have a hard time meshing with the style and finding how to make that work. And then if you look at C9, I think all these C9 fans, the guy who was spamming C9 perks for about 10 days in this Discord, they think that perks is just gonna fix everything with this team. I don't think it's gonna fix the fact that Blabber can coin flip his jungle every other game. The fact their team choked just completely in playoffs. I don't think C9 perks immediately fixes everything and is suddenly makes C9 the best team.
One thing that I'll say about C9, actually, I mean, I don't know if I'll go as far as say like, oh, they won't make Worlds, but I do see where you're coming from the C9 angle. This is also the team's first time without what's his name, Reaper. And this team was a really bad team at the end of last split, with Vulcan underperforming. Blabber has always been a carry jungler that needs to be played around, but Perks isn't really the type of mid laner to play for his jungler. So I'm very curious to see how Blabber and Perks are gonna play together. I'm curious to see if Fudge is gonna pan out in the way that C9 hopes that he won. I'm curious to see if Zen and Vulcan can get back to the dominant bot lane that they were in spring.
All right.
Yeah,
To
I
that
mean-
point too, though, right? Like Sven was probably their strongest player towards the end of the year, right? So it'd be a little bit less doubt on him and more on can they get that top side going, and more if Fudge can be this player that everybody thinks, right? Like he was obviously incredible, but can he be that player in the LCS and not just stomp the academy?
Huh.
Yeah,
Like-
that is also something to be worrying about because in the past, plenty players have performed well in academy, went to LCS, and have not performed up to standards. For example, Lorlo had a solid 2 weeks of being an absolute monster. He got promoted to LCS, and he got sent straight back down. So, just because they're good in academy doesn't mean that they're good in LCS. The same could be said for Darshan or Zion Spartan. He's arguably been top 2 academy top laner. He has been in LCS. He's been demoted. That isn't saying that he can't come back and be a good top laner, but
The
just
amount
because they're good in academy doesn't mean that they're going to be good.
the
in
amount of
LCS.
PMs I get every year about where Lorlo and Matt are going, like I have any idea or interest in where those players are going. 'Cause I don't know. I don't hear anything about them. I know I like Lorlo. He's a nice guy. I hear where Matt's like, where is Matt starting every single year? Like once a day, I probably get a PM about that. I told you this last year. I'll tell you this year. Matt will not start anywhere, barring whatever academy team he's on. The starter for that team loses both his hands in a car crash. That is the only way. Both hands. I think one hand they still start him over Matt. I'm talking about both hands. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, he wasn't that bad.
I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying I don't think
He was
anything
actually
goes
really
sorry.
good. Funny enough, this in academy he was actually pretty good.
Thank you, Major. I appreciate you take there, bud.
Was
That's
he on EG?
huh.
Was he
Matt,
on
I
EG
think
Academy?
he was EG Academy. Yeah. So we have another
Yeah,
one ready to
Matt,
go.
Deft and Mata.
This is Eshaw. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, man? So what you take? What you want to talk about?
So my take is that Leader is a top 3 mid laner in the LEC,
Oh, all right. So
Do you
despite
need
not
to be
being
in
picked
the
up.
LEC to be a top 3 mid laner?
Kenshin.
Oh wait, can I have this first?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Deer's gonna go first, and then Kenshin is a European challenger college league coach. This is his domain, so we're gonna go Deer and then Kenshin's take.
I've watched so many EU Master games, just betting on it and watching and breaking down gameplay that it's hard to say that Leader wasn't even the best mid laner in EU Masters the last 2 splits. So the fact that you can call him a top 3 player in including LEC, I don't know how that's possible. I think Leader's a great player, but I also think he's very one-dimensional. Maybe in this new meta of assassins and carry players that he might strive. But when I look at Leader, he really likes his melee assassin type mid laners. He'll play things like Echo, Kali, Aurelia,
Silas.
Silas. I think he used to play Yasuo a lot back when it was meta. Think the only ranged one I think he was really good at was like maybe Rise back in the day. But other than that, he's very one-dimensional. And you can't really be a great player without having a versatility, especially in like the new age of League of Legends. Because flex picks are so huge for teams nowadays, where if you can't flex a pick and if you can't play a certain style, kind of hinders you. It kind of is the same thing with like Impact, right? You can't call Impact a great top laner because he can only play weak side tanks and can't play carries. It actually limits a team to have a player who's only one-dimensional. And just like thinking of the mid laners right now in EU, like if Perks was still there, I'd still have him even though he hasn't played a full like year of mid lane. Caps is there. Larson can even somewhat play both supportive style and carry style. And then there was a whole, like I said before, there's a whole bunch of EU Masters that looked much better, or at least
Yeah, like Zico.
much more ready to play both styles. Like Pedigree, even Ronaldo had a better year this year. Sheklodad, Fateo.
Zico.
I'm a big fan of Tusil. Paris. Even Zico. Like
Let's
Zico.
go!
Yeah, like I'll even mention Zico. Like
Fucking ears, boss. Jeez.
there's like all these guys that have like the same similar playstyle, and some of them are just even more flexible than Leader. That unfortunately we'll never see him in the LEC. That's my hot take.
Damn, that's really also hot.
Real quick,
but-
I just want to say, because Bosch just screamed it out. Yes, I got the TSM Zico thing wrong. But I had him to NA the whole time, and I thought, with the whole shit that I got about TSM not being able to score in any EU imports, I just put two and two together and thought that was the jam. I'm not asking for an excuse there, because I got that one wrong. But I technically got it half right if he comes in NA, because I said he was coming in.
It made a lot of sense. I guess
It
the
did just
only
make
thing
sense.
Is that TSM,
That and you talked me into it, you fuck.
They just like they actually just weren't talking to PoE until like the end of it. And
PoE
then,
was definitely last minute move. It was like a
yeah.
desperation play.
Moving back to the leader thing, I wanted to give my my point on what Isha said before we kick him out of here. So real quick, I spoke to I actually spoke to leader myself, and I was telling people this earlier in DMs, and it was just he didn't say anything about roster stuff or anything like that. It was just purely a pro player talking to a fan kind of thing, because I should have asked him. I said, hey, would you ever come to NA? And he was like, I mean, he just said the generic answer. It depends on the offer. It depends on yeah, it depends on the offer, solo queue, ping, all the other stuff. And it made it seem like it'd have to be a decent offer for him to come to NA. But I said, hopefully, I said, good luck next year, and hopefully we get to see you in LEC. I'm a big fan. And he said, yeah, hopefully. I'm going to go on a limb here and say, based on the stuff that was rumored about him last year or whatever it is, his whole toxicity thing, look, people can 100% absolutely change. Whatever your perception of them was a year ago, 2 years ago, that is not the perception of them now. 2 years ago, you look at a player like Dardock's a good example, okay? And I know this is weird using Dardock as an example for leader, but Dardock was perceived as this complete toxic mess, that he was horrible teammate, and he was just never down to do anything with this team. He was just there for the money, just there for the play. And we saw that with Boiling Point, and maybe that was the case. But the thing with Dardock is, it's not so much that he's not toxic now. He's just not as good as people still think he is. He has changed as a teammate. That's why a team like TSM is willing to take a flyer. Hold on. That's what I'm saying, is TSM is willing to take a flyer on him. Because, and I was talking to my TSM source last year about the whole Dardock stuff, because guess what? I did get Dardock first. And he told me that TSM are willing to go for Dardock because they believed in his potential, and that he needed a solid roster to play with. What ended up happening was, and this happens to every single team, you guys, this happens to every single team. I don't care what player you get, how expensive they are, how good they are, how amazing they are, how dog shit they are. If they are not a fit for the roster, they are not a fit for the roster. If you bring in, classic example, I'm going to give you a perfect example right here. If C9 does in fact bring in perks, which I can say is like 95% sure at this point. If C9 does bring in perks and he doesn't get along with, say, Blabber or Fudge, then he's not going to work out. It's not that perks is shit. That he doesn't work out for the team. It's just how it goes. You have to find scheme fits. It's the same thing in every sport. Sure, you can go out and sign Kevin Durant, but if a post up shooter and solid true blue small forward is not what you're looking for, or rotational power forward is not what you're looking for, then you got to go and get the next guy who fits your scheme, because that's what matters. It's you can't just zero in on the fact that maybe leader was toxic to his last team or something like that, or other shit he was doing in solo queue. It doesn't matter. Maybe he's not happy. Maybe he's in a bad place because he keeps getting fucking passed up for LEC offers, which he should be getting. You know? So, it's one of those things where I don't want to ever talk about someone's toxicity because saying that... someone said I'd windmill on KD. It's really funny. Saying somebody's toxic and that's why they don't have a team is very irresponsible because you don't know the whole story. He may not have a team because maybe he's just not a scheme fit for any other team in LEC. Or a lot of LEC mids were already locked or were re-signing. You know what I mean? The whole thing with Niski is maybe Niski fits Fnatic better than Leader. You know what I mean? I don't know.
They're just to talk about on the Fnatic thing. I wouldn't even give Leader a chance if I wasn't gonna give Magic Felix, who's already in that org, a chance, right?
Well, an issue with Magic Felix, or
apparently he can't play on stage because of his anxiety or something, right?
Yeah, there was an issue with during
I feel
this
that.
world.
I feel that, by the way. I'm not gonna diss the guy for his anxiety. Anxiety is serious.
It's serious and it's really sad because Fnatic actually wanted to sub him in this world. He was supposed to be playing. It was right before the Galio game where Nemesis went like 150 farm in like a 20-minute game. Magic Felix was supposed to play, but his anxiety kind of screwed him, and he's like, yeah, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't be confident I'm gonna perform.
Good too.
Yeah,
it's such a shame.
It sucks. I think he should transition into coaching because he's so knowledgeable and he plays all roles.
Yeah, back to the take. Leader. He has mechanics. He can be great. But saying Leader is a top 3 mid in the LEC is like looking back at like the 2018-2019 offseason being like, oh yeah, Broken Blade is a top 3 top in the West. That would be like the same kind of take. So I just have to disagree. He has great mechanics. He has the talent. Maybe one day he brings it and actually uses his potential to be a top 3 mid in the LEC. But right now, nope. Next take.
Well, I guess the thing is that since we're on the
didn't really
topic
have a
about
chance to
top
do it.
3 LEC players, who do you have for the top 3?
So I
Rebuttal
wouldn't be
contention.
sure about the second spot. Caps is obviously number 1. In my opinion, I think Leader has mechanics on par with Caps in the LEC. I think that they're equal. Like honestly, I think that they are equal. I've been following Leader for a year and a half now, and I tried to get him to come to NA. Like I would DM him on Twitter, like every few months, and say, "Hey, when are you coming to NA?" And he'll DM me back like every so often. So I've been following him for a really long time. Y'all might think it's crazy that I think that, and maybe it's my biased opinion of like a Leader fanboy, but I think he's insane, and I think it's ridiculous that the LEC, recycles these like basically paycheck grabbers. In my opinion, I mean they're obviously really good players, but
who?
like
I can name you like
Nuke
3
Duck.
on my head.
Like
Nuke Duck
Febiven,
is the
Nuke
number
Duck.
1 example that's been going around
Nuke Duck
Reddit
is, like,
because
the
like
the only one, but he just had one bad year. Like 2 years ago, he was arguably top 3.
Who?
Nuke Duck.
Nah.
I disagree.
yeah,
You're the Duck,
I mean
dude.
I don't know.
100%.
The Duck. I guess if the
But
Duck.
I also,
quacks
with
against
that
people.
roster, I also understand like why they want Nuke Duck mid.
Bro,
With
Reggie.
the veteran presence.
All right, real quick. Thank you, Isha, for your take. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it a lot. I'm gonna bop you out. Thank you very much.
Reggie being cringe
Yeah,
on Twitter.
are you
What's
guys
new?
curious who are supportive? Something effort, something like.
He can't even talk to teams right now, can he?
I've been binging Sword Art Online. Really good anime.
These guys, they're trolling at
What
this
time
point.
is it in Korea?
Yeah, maybe Reggie's
2
been
a.m.?
like
It's
drinking
night
like
time in
since
Korea.
this morning.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Fucking hell.
I'd
If
get
I
lit
had
with
the
Reggie.
possibility of Huni, I'd be drinking.
We
too.
have one more. We have another
okay.
guest we're gonna bring in. It's actually
It's
one of our
8:30 a.m.
mods.
in Korea and in where's Sword Art? Fucking like Beijing.
I don't fucking know. Everybody,
It's
welcome
7:30.
Mr. Cyclone to the Bare Bones Podcast. What up, Cyclone?
Whoa, Mr. D
Hey,
Cyclone.
how's it going?
That's going, bud.
All right. So this take is from an anonymous person. They are. I'll tell you what it is, and then I can give you some of their reasoning. So they're saying if TSM gets Sword Art, they now have an S tier bot side with Spica and an enabling mid. And so as the reasoning he had for that was PoE is known for making his junglers better, and if TSM are a bot lane focused team, as Doublelift is known to love and thrive in, they can play aggro bot, which will open up space for Sword Art to roam, decide when to swap, ultimately control the mid game. And he also commented this on how Sword Art is known for his leadership skills, and said in China is known as an elder brother because of his leadership qualities. Basically, his only concern was if they can nail down communication in game, then he would make TSM have an S tier bot side having Spica and the enabling mid in PoE.
Did he say basically this would imply that if they got life or carrier, they wouldn't have an S tier bot set?
I mean, he
Or
did
what?
not say that, but
So I'll agree with him in the aspect that with all my LPL knowledge, Sword Art is probably one of the best shot callers in the game. When it comes to supports that actually do it for their team, and even in general as a shot caller, he's actually been raved about by many teams. The problem with it is, like you said, the communication, and I just can't see what Spica's gonna have to like translate like mid game, like every time they make a call, because even Corey JJ had a problem when he came over with shot calling with like what would be like broken English at the time. I think it'd be like a really big hurdle, especially with like splits like not mattering anymore. You can't really throw spring split. So taking on a gamble on someone who probably has little to no English, which was my concern in general, bringing in an Eastern support. This is not just a flame Sword Art. It's like if Korea and Life can't speak English well, the problem is if they are Korean, at least the laner would know what he's saying.
Yeah, and this is also why like TSM went away from Less Boy. That was the big like communication barrier that they felt was happening.
Possible though, Sword Art, like logistically, visa wise.
Well, Sword Art doesn't speak any English is the issue. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take
I
him at
don't-
least.
Sword Art is from Taiwan, not China, so that makes it easier.
Yeah,
I
it still doesn't
don't-
speak any English.
I don't
regardless of
see
where
it
he's from.
being Sword Art.
Yeah, I think
Honestly.
it's a complete bait take. I haven't
Yeah.
heard
I
it once.
agree.
None of us have heard it whatsoever.
I still think it's life.
Like,
I think it's live for Gorilla. It
Is
has to be
Sword
live
Art-
though, too.
Gorilla.
Gorilla's the
let's see.
backup, I think.
All right. So thank you, anonymous
I think
person.
TSM's still gonna go for carrier, obviously, but I don't
Like-
know if they're gonna like actually do anything. for
Hey
carry.
man, if
Like-
you can get Korea to come over,
I just
man,
don't
I
think
just
they-
I'll
I
just
don't-
go
I
hug
don't think
Reggie.
they beat out the LCK offers, but also like from what TSM was like howling about last night, like literally all of their upper management, it seemed like they like closed a huge deal last night, like late last night, which is like midday Korea. So
Right.
I feel like they got a Korean. But I don't think you're howling about signing Huni at 1 a.m.
No,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
go-
Every indication is like a big signing, so the Uni and stuff just doesn't make sense.
Hooney doesn't seem. Yeah, he doesn't scream big to me either.
No. I mean, even if it's Gorilla, right? I mean, it's still, is that as big as a life or a
No,
quote-unquote Sword Art or a character?
No, for sure, no.
So
also like I mean Reggie just hasn't even mentioned Gorilla, I think, and not like we should like really be taking his words too seriously, but I mean
Yeah.
we know it's a Korean support. I feel like it's somebody that he's memeing at least.
All right.
you're looking at like English too, though, right? Like Gorilla at least played a split in the LEC.
No, Gorilla speaks
He was
English.
really good English.
He is really good
English
English.
is incredible. So as far as like communication wise, the fit is there. I just don't see that at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
the problem if you're playing Gorilla, you're pretty much putting all your eggs in one basket of 1v9 double lift.
Yep, you are saying we are playing bot side.
Okay, but
MVP,
what
and
about
that's where we
TSM
are.
Pickaboo?
Yeah.
That's a classic. Peekaboo actually also has insane English.
All
That's
right.
the thing.
So I gotta stop. I gotta stop everybody for a sec. So, we're actually gonna call that a stream
Whoa.
at the moment. Superstar Sport is more expensive than the bottom two LCS team salaries combined. Wow. Okay.
That's bait. That's bait.
That's a bait. Yeah. Reggie loves to fuck around like that. So just wanted to say thank you guys for coming out. I also wanted to announce before we go today that we are in fact going to be doing streams, or I will, assuming these guys would like to come back, throughout the year now. So you can expect 24/7 Skelly, if that's something you are enjoying or would like to enjoy.
Around you that much? I don't know about that.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't
you know
know.
that's fine, Sean. Let me just you can just there you go. Bye, Sean. Anyways,
Oh.
the reason why we're not stopping it suddenly is just I told myself we were gonna run to 5:30 and we were gonna stop it. We got a lot more stuff to talk about, a lot more takes. Obviously, we've got all these wonderful people here, and I appreciate you guys for coming out. Wouldn't be a stream without my boys. I forgot to put the clothes in the dryer, so they got mildewy, so my wife is mad at me. So I'm gonna go do that and make dinner and watch the Scuffed ass EG stream because they've got Avali there to counteract how boring Jacob Wolf and Crumbs are. So let's all go do that and meme about it together, and I will see you guys next time. Remember, I'm not crazy. I'm skeleton. It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work.
God bless, we're not loco.
God bless TSM Zico. See you, boys.
All right. Later, guys.
Yeah.